Get ready to embrace debate. First Take starts now.
Coming up on the First Take podcast, is this the year the Thunder take home the NBA crown? And why would a former Patriot compare his time with the team to slavery? Plus, Marlon, Wayans, and Laila Ali join us at the desk. You don't want to miss it. All that and more coming up on the First Take podcast, which starts right now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Take. I'm Carrie Champion with Mr. Bayless. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Champion.
You're welcome. Or good morning, rather. And then Stephen A. Smith.
What's going on?
Oh,
what's going on, my man?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Masters starts today on ESPN.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you Tiger, and I'll take the field. How about it? You taking that bet?
No, I'm not.
He might win it and not even be there.
Wow.
That's how good he is.
Yeah, the odds are for him.
Okay.
So let's talk about, we got a busy show today, folks. A lot of guests. Her dad was the greatest of all time, and she's made a name for herself. We're talking about the beautiful, gosh, she's so stunning, Stephen A.
Yes.
Can you tell me who it is?
The lovely Laila Ali.
Ooh, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I have no comment.
Oh. Also, actor and comedian.
I'm jealous of Curtis Cole.
Okay, there you go. Actor and comedian Marlon Wayans will also be here. His last visit, he got everybody excited, so he'll talk about your New York Knicks.
He's crazy.
He is, to say the least.
He is bananas.
He is bananas.
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
But you liked him. You had a good time with him.
He's crazy smart.
Yes, he is.
All right,
Whole family is.
Let's talk about the Thunder. The first time we've seen the starters together since late February, and just in time for the playoffs. OKC beat the Clippers 107-101 in what could be a preview in the playoffs. Westbrook had 30 points, Durant had 27, while Perkins, Ibaka, and Cephalosha combined for 24. The five reminding the Western Conference that this five is hard to beat. So let's talk about the bigger picture, Stephen A. Do you think, looking at that starting five last night, that they're the team to beat for the chip?
No. I do not believe that about Oklahoma City. I think they're the team to beat in the West, but I do not believe that they're the team to beat for the World Championship, regardless of what struggles the Miami Heat are enduring. If Dwayne Wade is healthy enough for the playoffs, remember, there are no back-to-backs come playoff time. If he's healthy enough for the playoffs, I believe that Miami has Oklahoma City's number, and it'll be too tough for them to overcome. But I do believe they're the team to beat in the West, because I believe fully loaded, they can beat San Antonio, and they have San Antonio's number. And whatever faith I had in the Los Angeles Clippers, while Doc Rivers has done an absolutely sensational job, predictably so, while Chris Paul is a superstar, while Blake Griffin has elevated his game to superstar status and deserves MVP consideration, my issue with the Clippers is one thing and one thing only: their ability to hit free throws from their front court when it counts. Blake Griffin is too sensational of a player for you to be victimized by highlight reel material. You're not going to let him do it. You're going to send him to the free throw line. DeAndre Jordan and that dunk over Serge Ibaka is sensational as it was. Remember, he leads the league in dunks. This dude is a sensational athlete. Love me some DeAndre Jordan. Cannot hit free throws. And if you cannot hit free throws, you cannot win in the playoffs when it
two out of
really
eight
counts.
last night.
You just can't pull it off. And so I'm watching Westbrook do his thing. I'm watching Kevin Durant drop 27. I'm watching Cephalosha back in the line doing what he's doing. I even saw Kendrick Perkins hit a jumper in the lane, okay, a little soft 5-footer. I'm looking at these guys. They can defend. They can hit perimeter shots. They can attack from a multitude of ways and angles. I look at Oklahoma City as a flat-out juggernaut and too much for anybody in the Western Conference to deal with. But to say they're the team to beat, period, that means that you've got to have Miami's number. And they have not convinced me that that is something that they can pull off just yet.
I hear everything you just said, but I must tell you that after I got up early this morning and watched the fourth quarter of the Clippers-Thunder game, because I just couldn't make it through the whole thing last night, but I watched it this morning. And this pains me to admit, because you know how much I love me some Spurs. I just think it's over. I think if Oklahoma City can stay healthy, and that is a big if, but if they do stay healthy all the way through the playoffs, nobody is going to beat this juggernaut, as you call them, because I think they have arrived. I'm saying nobody in the West will beat them. Nobody in the finals will beat them. The San Antonio Spurs will not beat them. the Miami Heat will not beat them. And maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment of watching Miami stagger to the finish line through the back end of the regular season. But Stephen A., I'm not talking about the obvious runaway MVP Kevin Durant here. I'm talking about Batman, and I'm going to say it again. Batman blew me away, especially in the fourth quarter. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm like, who?
I'm talking about Russell Westbrook is Batman to Kevin Durant's Robin. And last night at Clippers, Kevin Durant had, by his standards, a poor shooting night. He went 8 for 26. And guess what his little sidekick did? Batman. That unholy terror that is Russell Westbrook. He scored 30 on 12 out of 24, and he added 11 rebounds, including 2 huge fourth-quarter offensive rebounds. No guard offensive rebounds any better than this guy does. He plays now with this unbridled rage, this you can't stop me rage, but it's just bridled enough now as he learns, as he grows up just a little bit. I still don't completely trust him because, you know, that will be his undoing occasionally. But last night, they just couldn't cope with him because nobody, you know this, nobody can cope with him when he is right. But we all know he came back 25 games ago and they have sat him for 7 of those games. So, to paraphrase Shakespeare, if I can, it's the knee or not the knee. That is the question. Because I don't know what's going on with his knee because you pointed out to me that's what, 3 knee surgeries inside of, what are we talking about, 9 months? Is that about right?
Let's be clear about something here. Let's be clear about something. Let's put it on the record right now. Russell Westbrook is unguardable.
Unguardable.
There is no one. I repeat, no one. And I'm going to include LeBron James into that mix. I'm going to include Tony Allen into that mix. I'm going to include, you can name anybody you want. There is no one in the NBA that can stay with Russell Westbrook one-on-one. He is unguardable. And he is a superstar, Skip, which is something that I've been saying for a while. He is a superstar. Russell Westbrook is one of the top 5, top 10 players in the game. Easy. It's just that simple. There's nothing you can do with him. He might be a bit erratic at times. There's no doubt about it. But that's the only impediment. And by the way, he does it on both ends of the floor because he will get up in your grill. He will score at will. And on top of it all, he rebounds. Okay? So he defends, he scores, and he rebounds. I'm sorry. I don't see anybody being able to do that. And I'm willing to put him even at 100% health. I am willing to put him above Derrick Rose as the most athletic point guard in NBA history.
I'll buy that.
It is just nothing.
I'll buy it.
There's nothing to say. I mean, it is what it is. And I love me some Derrick Rose, but Russell Westbrook is that lethal. So with that being said, I will remind you, do you remember when he dropped 44 on Miami in the finals?
Do I?
They still lost. They still lost, you know, because somehow, some way, Miami finds a way. Because don't rule out anything with Miami until you see D-Wade.
Okay.
Until you see D-Wade on the floor with Miami, don't rule out anything. Because what it comes down to is this. If D-Wade is healthy, you got to remember, you can't just sit there and assume he's out because he's not healthy. The playoffs are approaching. No excuses. We know what's important. Wouldn't it surprise me at all if D-Wade could play some of these games and is just sitting out because Miami wants him to sit out.
I would like to think that.
I'm saying, that's why I'm saying, I have to wait and see Miami with D-Wade on the floor before making such a proclamation. Oklahoma City, to me, is the team to beat in the West. Regardless of San Antonio being the #1 seed. Oklahoma City is the team to beat in the West, but I can't give them the edge over everybody.
Okay, but 2 years ago, when we were at that finals, there was a big baby factor here with these Thunder. They were just babies. They had no idea. The lights were a little too bright. And now they have a little scar tissue, and I'm not talking about just the scar tissue in Russell's knee. That they have a little pain. They felt how it felt to lose an NBA Finals, and they are on the verge. You add back in Cephalosha and Perkins into the defensive equation, and last night, even though they gave up over 100 points, they still. You use that word juggernaut, now they start to look like a juggernaut on defense. And let me throw in one last factor that's going to be a huge, if it does come down to Oklahoma City, Miami in the finals, I'm going to remind you of this. As we speak, Kevin Durant has shot 201 more free throws than LeBron James. That is the most staggering stat in all of basketball to me. LeBron James gets less and less respect from the referees. We saw the Mason Plumlee play. And this guy gets more. This is the most protected player in the history of this league, including Michael Jordan. And can I just real quick call up a play from last night?
Please.
Okay, this was a pivotal play with 46 seconds left in this game if we could show it. Kevin Durant, do we have that play?
Yeah, it was right
yes,
here.
There we are. Kevin Durant has the ball, guarded by Matt Barnes, and gets a foul called, and it's the most phantom foul. I'm saying, where is it? Wait, he loses the ball for a second, and then that's a foul? I mean, Matt Barnes doesn't touch him. He doesn't touch him. And they send him to the line. How many times a game do you see that?
I agree with you. But keep in mind something. There's no way those fouls are going to go his way in the finals.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Not a lopsided version. There are games in the playoffs, games in the finals where you feel like, wait a minute, are they looking for ratings? Are they looking for a sixth or seventh game? Because how do you make those calls? But in totality, over the course of an entire series, Kevin Durant is not going to get that many favorable calls over LeBron James. I don't believe it. I don't believe that.
Okay, just for the record, just so people can get this who didn't see the fourth quarter, it was a 2-point Thunder lead at that point. And again, if it's a miss and Clippers get the ball and go the other way, we could be looking at a tie game or maybe even Clippers lead. And instead, Kevin Durant saunters to the free throw line, and you know what happened next. He made both. He's an 88% foul shooter, down just a little bit from last year when he was 91%. But he's taking so many. He's now in first place in the free throw shooting attempts. He's 106 more than Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
So it's like what's your line about? You breathe on them.
That's right. You breathe on them.
He's going to the free throw line.
But you got to remember something, Skip. The jury's still out again. I'm not saying I'm not going to pick Oklahoma City. I have to see Dwayne Wade in the lineup with LeBron healthy come playoff time before I'm willing to sit there and knock Miami off that pedestal of being the favorite. But let me also be clear. You brought up the finals and how they've got that scar tissue from having lost a couple of years ago. They also had James Harden when they lost. Now there's no James Harden.
Oh, well, wait a second. You made the case they really didn't have James Harden because he disappeared.
Am I right? He did disappear, but he was still a threat when he was on the floor. It was just inexplicable. I'm telling you right now, it's 2 years later. I still can't understand why he passed up on some of the shots he passed up on, as great as he is as a player. It makes no sense to me. And he has the audacity to be sensitive about it. I don't get it because he didn't show up. I mean, it was just so obvious to millions. But in the end, here's what it comes down to. Maybe it gives Russell Westbrook a bigger license, a bigger green light. Maybe it doesn't. We don't know. But all I'm telling you is that, again, I go back to my original statement from yesterday. Kevin Durant has to be who he's been in order for Oklahoma City to win the world championship.
I think Russell Westbrook has to be who he has become.
In order for so Skip says if they stay healthy, OKC could win it all.
Oh, they can. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying I'm not going to sit there and say they are the team to beat. Let's see Dwayne Wade in the lineup.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. You took us there. Another team actually making a push for a playoff spot in the Western Conference is the Grizzlies. They beat the Heat last night, 107-102, minus Dwayne Wade, Chris Anderson, and Udonis Haslem. The Heat have rested their starters, more specifically Dwayne Wade, as we were just talking about, with seemingly no regard for the number one spot in the East. Let's listen to what LeBron had to say.
It's not our control, our destiny about the number one seed. We want to get healthy. That's all that we care about, man. Going into the postseason healthy. We got more problems, as far as health issues than the number one seed. Obviously, we're going to play the way we want to play, and if it happens to happen, then we're going to be excited to get the postseason started. But that's the least of our worries right now.
All right, so here's the question. They just want to get healthy in the postseason. Is this the right approach, Stephen A?
I believe it is absolutely the right approach. What I will say is this, however. I'm watching LeBron James play. And I know he dropped 37 last night. He had 38 the other night. And, he's LeBron James. I would like to say this. I do see a dude that I believe is just a tad bit more fatigued.
I agree.
Than he customarily looks like during this time
of
year. He doesn't. If there's the greatest argument that could be made for Oklahoma City, is the fact that LeBron seems tired. And I'm going to go on the record and say this. No decision has been made. He's going to wait until the season ends, evaluate all his options, make the best business decision he could possibly make. His number one priority is the roster that he's going to be playing with, not just next season, but beyond moving forward. But at the same time, if you're the Miami Heat, you got South Beach, you got that weather, you got the beautiful American Airlines Arena. I mean, it's just immaculate. Everything about it is lovely. But if you're LeBron, you got to be tired of this. I mean, Dwayne Wade has missed about 26 games this year. Okay? You know, you're looking at this squad right now. Shane Battier, in all likelihood, is going to retire. Ray Allen's got about a year left. You're just looking at things, and you're saying, how much do we have? And as a result, LeBron is asked to do everything. And I just wonder how much he's got. For the first time in his career, I found myself wondering how much he has in the tank. He works out religiously. He takes care of himself.
Yep.
He's in pristine condition, according to our standards. But according to LeBron James' standards, I wonder whether or not that's the case, because his regular offseason regimen wasn't necessarily followed because he got married after he won the championship, the vacation, and all the stuff that he religiously did, he wasn't able to do, planning for the wedding, doing all that other stuff. So you just say to yourself, again, he'll be there and he'll do his thing. But in terms of being such a, just Hercules type of dude, are you going to be able to make up for what others are lacking? I don't know if he's going to be able to pull that off this year, which elevates the importance of Dwayne Wade being ready to go. That's what I get from it. I totally agree with him. We're just trying to get healthy because he needs those other guys healthy. The LeBron I looked at last night seemed to be a dude that was saying, could y'all help me out, man? I mean, this is wearing me out.
That is correct. I completely agree there, which was why I must admit I was stunned at the roster choices that were made by Eric Spoelstra or Pat Riley going into this game last night. I thought this was a winnable game for the Heat because, you know, Memphis has struggled of late. They're on the edge, the cusp of falling out of the Western Conference playoffs. So I'm thinking, gee, Dwayne has rested 7 straight games. I'm maybe thinking I might see him tonight. And he did warm up, but again, they're saying it's a hamstring. I don't know. It's always something new with Dwayne. We thought it was the knee for a while, then it was a foot, then it was this, then it was a back, now it's a hamstring. I don't know what's going on with Dwayne. I'm with you. I think he's going to be okay for the playoffs. But is this not blatant disrespect for what's happened to the Pacers? Are they just saying we don't care anymore about the #1 seed? Because they knew the Pacers had a chance to catch and pass them playing at Milwaukee against can we say that's the worst team in pro basketball?
What?
The Bucks.
Without
Yeah,
question.
they are. They're worse than the Sixers
Without
are.
question.
Okay? So we know that Vogel had already announced, I'm playing my second 5 tonight. My first 5 are not going to play at all. But I figured, well, the second 5 can probably win that game, and they did. Thanks to your ex-Nick, Chris Copeland made a play at the end of the game. They win by 2. So I'm thinking, well, don't the Heat need to turn up the heat a little bit here and get back on track? And he rests everybody. He rested Greg Oden, who could have been a big factor last night because you know how big and physical the Memphis team is inside, and they just got crushed. They lost points in the paint last night, 60-30, and got out.
Zach Randolph tends to do that to them.
Okay, but 41-27 rebounds. It seems like that's every night with the Heat. But then Haslam doesn't play with a quote-unquote virus. I don't know. Maybe he was sick. Who knows? Birdman didn't play with some kind of bruised knee. And Michael Beasley, who I thought had become an X factor at midseason for them, a guy who would come off the bench, you'd say, man, talk about unstoppable. When he gets in a rhythm,
he can score.
Oh, can he? Well, now he's lost in the doghouse, man. He didn't play at all. He didn't play last night. So I'm thinking, what are they doing? Are they just looking at the Pacers and saying that they have collapsed? They are not a factor. They are irrelevant to us anymore.
It's not about that directed at the Pacers per se. Champions prioritize health over W's during the regular season. Their whole thing is to get into the postseason as healthy as they can possibly be, because their belief is we can go anywhere and beat anybody. when we are on our game, and we can't be on our game if we're unhealthy. That's all that is. It's nothing more. It's nothing less.
What a big case you made early in this season about how this is all about home court advantage, man. If the Pacers have it.
I said for the Pacers because I believe that's the Pacers' shot. If the road to the finals has to come through Indianapolis, I think they most assuredly are destined for the Eastern Conference Finals. And the question is, can you protect your home court to force a Game 7? The Pacers have proven they can win in Miami, but the likelihood is that both of these teams will protect their home court. I've seen Miami perform in Indianapolis, however, and I believe they can steal a game on the road. I truly do.
They didn't steal the last one.
Well,
that's like the only game it seems like the Pacers have won in about a month.
Yeah, but that's the last one.
Yeah.
All I'm saying to you is that Miami, over the course of a 7-game series, can steal a game in Indianapolis. The games are usually tight because Indianapolis struggles to score the basketball. When I look at it from that perspective, I'm cool with their approach because of how many games they've played, how taxing it's been, attrition has been on their body, and they understand what their priorities are. They don't have anything to prove. They're just trying to survive come playoff time.
And I think, bottom line, that Spoelstra / Pat Riley look at what's happened to the Pacers and say, if we do meet them in the playoffs, no problem. We can handle them.
But they believe that about anybody, though.
Well,
they believe that about anybody. They really believe that they can handle anybody if they're healthy. They're really not worried about anybody if they're healthy, including Oklahoma City.
Pacers at Heat, Friday, 7:30 Eastern.
That's different.
You going to that game?
Which one?
Pacers at Heat.
No, I'm not.
Then it's not official. So don't watch it.
They can watch it, but I'm going to chill. I'm going to stay home this Friday night instead of going to South Beach for the game. I'll be on the road more than enough.
I don't believe you'll be at home Friday night, but you might be chilling. Yeah.
All right.
Buffalo Bills linebacker Brandon Sykes is really excited about the 2014 season. Bless you. Most importantly, the 2 games he has against his former team, the New England Patriots, who he spent 4 years with. He tweeted this: great games on the schedule for 2014, but it's going to be like Christmas to hand the Patriots Nation, a L, twice. # Bills Mafia. Then he later tweeted, 4 years of Slave, a take on the movie. Stephen A. Smith, your take.
You know, I don't know Brandon Sykes. I mean, you're gonna talk junk about the New England Patriots when you go to play for the Bills. If you went to the Broncos, it would make some sense. You're going to the Buffalo Bills and you're going to talk smack. Now, we love E.J. Manuel. We have faith in him. We believe in him. We think that he has a promising career. But can we pump the brakes here? These are the Buffalo Bills. They have done absolutely positively nothing to convince you that they're going to beat the New England Patriots twice in 2 meetings in the upcoming regular season. We certainly haven't seen them on the radar in terms of AFC East supremacy in the last decade plus, okay? You combine that with the fact that football is a team sport, that you and you alone ain't going to be able to do but so much. Your words just ring hollow. That's my overlying, my overlying point. The part about 4 years a slave, well, when you use such incendiary language and you have absolutely, positively no evidence whatsoever to validate such a claim, it's ridiculous. First of all, when you bring up the word slave and you are an African American, you are a black man. Are you willing to acknowledge that those white players on the team were enslaved too? I mean, were the standards different for them? Because if it wasn't different for them, then there's no such thing. Okay? Number 2, and more importantly, the Patriots are known for treating everybody equally, maybe with the exception of Tom Brady. And some would argue that Tom Brady is treated similar because he ain't getting the $96 million contract that Peyton Manning had. I think his contract was $72. Okay? So understand that the way the Patriots go about doing business is the way that they go about doing business with everybody. And very few people, if anyone at all, is immune to doing things differently than the Patriot way when you're a member of the New England Patriots. So in light of that reality, chances are he knew that before he got there. You certainly found out about it once you were there, and that's it. They have order. Mr. Kraft is the boss. Bill Belichick is the coach. Now, I can sit there and we can lament a lot of different things about the New England Patriots because I think they should be paying dudes more. I think they should make sure, like the Vince Wilforks of the world, show the faith in them that you showed, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end, nobody forced Brandon Spikes to become a member of the New England Patriots. They are a first-class organization. They are somebody that I proudly, and I'm a native New Yorker, and I'm willing to acknowledge that I proudly call them America's team. And I think that something like this is completely beyond the pale, totally unnecessary. And I'd go as far as to say that I expect Brandon Spikes at some point today to issue an apology for going this far.
Yep.
You crossed the line.
Probably.
There's no reason that the Patriots organization, Mr. Kraft and Mr. Belichick, should be associated with a word
Slavery.
like that. He's wrong, and he should apologize to them.
I am so with you on this that I hesitated to even want to talk about it on the air because I don't want to bring any more attention to it that has been brought. Look, I'm obviously not a black man. I can't in any way, shape, or form feel the way either of you two feel about that word and his use of it. But I can only speak as a white guy who does know his history, and I do know that movie. And for him to dare to compare his 4 years in New England to the 12 years that that man went through in that movie, and in real life, many went through.
Sure.
And this was a true, based on a true story.
Yeah.
But there were many other true stories just like this one. To do that, to dare to do that, it is such utter disrespect and disregard for the history of suffering that your people went through, that it just staggers me. It's the all-time don't hit send.
Sure.
You know, it's the all-time.
Sure.
Coach Herm always says, just don't think about it. Don't hit send.
Right.
4 years a slave because they drafted you late in the second round, so you were a second-round pick of the New England Patriots. And then right away, you disrespected them. You had a sex tape that became a minor scandal that got out on the internet. This is right after you're drafted.
I forgot all about that.
Okay, that's number one. Then number two, right away, rookie year, you get suspended for 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. But you rebound from that, and you become, over the last 2 seasons, a starter under a man regarded by many as the greatest defensive coach in the history of pro football, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. So you
Clearly one of.
Okay, one of.
If not the.
And there's, even though he can be tough to deal with, and you put it in great context, but still, there's some honor to get to play for that man.
There's
to
a
get
lot.
to learn defense from that
Sure.
man. But what happened in the end? Reportedly, he was late for a couple of meetings. They clashed. He wound up being forced to go on IR. He said, I wasn't really hurt. They put him on IR for the playoffs. So it ended badly. It went up in smoke. And now he's like a hurt child saying, I'm going to get even with you via Twitter, and the next year I'm going to beat your butts twice. Well, good luck with that, because I think New England is the team to beat in the AFC, certainly in that division. I think you would agree with that. Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, good luck and God bless with those Buffalo Bills.
Let me say this. There are a lot of black folks that go through a lot of things on an everyday basis. I happen to be incredibly blessed, not just because of the family, the background, the inner circle that God has blessed me with, but I think I have an absolutely fantastic job. Everything ain't perfect at ESPN. I'm quite sure from time to time we have our complaints. But if you ask me, do I have a great job, I'm going to put a big fat smile on my face and tell you I'm living large. Life is lovely, okay? You know, everyone can't say that, and I understand that. But it doesn't give you the license to be irresponsible with the rhetoric being spewed from your mouth, acting as if it's just about you. Because, again, one of the things that I lament consistently is the kind of profound effect we don't recognize it has on others to follow because of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, because of how people act. One of the reasons, and I've said this to many people within my own community on many occasions, this pulpit that I have I'm even Stephen. That's why I like my name, Stephen. I'm even Stephen. I'm going to call it down the middle. I'm going to call it like I see it. There's levels of sensitivities that I bring to the equation that emanate from my community that some folks like yourself or others may not understand. So I'm here to enlighten you about it, but that's all I'm trying to do. But in the end, your deeds are your deeds, your actions are your actions. And you have to stand alone for them. And one of the reasons why I go down the middle is because, and Kerry can relate to this as a woman when you talk about issues pertaining to women and being a black woman, etc., etc. You can't ignore the rhetoric that's being spewed. Because if you ignore it and you don't hold those people accountable, then the whole tends to get tainted as opposed to isolating folks. So I'm calling out Brandon Spikes today because I want America to understand this ain't black people. That's you. He's the guy that did that. Most of us are not going to look at being in an NFL uniform, playing 4 years for the New England Patriots, and calling it 4 years slave. All right? You know, alluding to 12 years a slave. Now, you might have folks from time to time that found themselves in a particular situation, the way they were treated by a particular individual, how that individual was allowed to get away with it, and say, this person made me feel this way because I was at his mercy. Had he elaborated extensively on it and went into it and explained it, he might have some legitimacy to it. But in the end, he does not, because you went on Twitter, you conducted yourself in a highly unprofessional fashion, you had the stuff in your past that you mentioned, you had all of this stuff against you which validates and substantiates whatever mentality you're trying to express Coach Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and the New England Patriots organization had towards you. Perhaps if you had conducted yourself in a pristine manner, you would not have been in a position to say that. I've run across many members of the New England Patriots. I've had them lament sometimes how strict Bill Belichick can be.
Absolutely.
I have never once heard those words associated with that man or with that organization. And I'm going to repeat it again. If you're smart, Brandon Spikes, you will come out publicly and apologize for being so ignorant in going as far as you went to denigrate that man and that organization. It's beyond the pale, it's wrong, and I want to make sure everybody understands that's an aberration. Most people coming from the black community know better than going that far with something like that, being so ignorant.
Let me ask you this, and I want to make sure we're clear. You said if he was more specific, you wouldn't have a problem with it?
No, I'm saying that if you were more specific, perhaps we would have gathered a greater understanding of what you're alluding to and what you're trying to say, as opposed to being somebody that's saying, well, I was there for 4 years and I felt like a slave. No elaboration whatsoever, just trying to taint the organization irresponsibly. You should know better than that. I respect him as a man. I understand that mistakes happen. I'm not judging him accordingly. I'm just isolating this particular tweets that he sent out. You don't go that far. You don't do that, because now that's going to follow Brandon Spikes wherever he goes. And if you're an organization, why would I want him to be a part of my organization? Who knows when he's going to say that about me just because he didn't get his way? That's not smart.
As you know, the Cowboys have not gone to the playoffs in several years. We have not gone. Yet we're the most popular TV show there is on television. We lead all teams in TV ratings. We lead 24 out of the last top 25 shows were NFL games, and any time your Cowboys play, they're up there at the top and leading. Well, now what causes that? What causes that is creating some aura, creating some excitement.
Jerry Jones speaking at a press conference for the Academy of Country Music Awards on Sunday. Jones pointed out that Americans still love nothing more than, as he said, watching America's team despite their lack of success. So here's the question. Does Mr. Jones have a point? Skip Bayless, for you.
Stephen A. Smith.
I'm answering for you.
Over the last 2 years on this show, I have again and again made this point to you that Jerry Jones has gone completely over the edge into pure entertainment. And for Jerry, entertaining doesn't necessarily mean winning. It just means putting on a great show. It could be a moral victory, as in a close loss. Jerry doesn't care about winning anymore. Jerry cares about TV ratings, jersey sales, popularity, however you want to define popularity. But I couldn't believe that Jerry Jones publicly admitted it. He finally just stepped to the mic. I don't know if he felt a little defensive. Maybe he'd gotten a couple of sort of quasi-negative questions about 8-8, 8-8, 8-8. And he's trying to defend himself because his skin can get a little thin occasionally. And he's saying, yeah, 8-8. But we are the top TV draw in all of pro football, which is the top draw in all of sports. And you know what? Sad, but true. That is dead on right. That's why I have told you again and again, they remain America's team. Not necessarily in winning and losing, because they do a little of that and a little of that. They're pretty even. They mix it up. But I got to tell you, it gave me such pause last night that I sat back, and the first thing I tried to remember was, when is the last time I didn't watch a Cowboy game? And I literally could not remember. I was going back to my college days thinking, did I miss a game because I had a final or something? Or, you know, like was there some reason I missed a Cowboy game? Because I'm a fan from childhood, but nobody misses Cowboy games. They are the show of shows. And then I just looked back through the schedule from last year, and I thought, okay, so they were 8-8, and I'm looking at these games, and I'm thinking, were these not the most watchable games of the year in the National Football League? That opener when Eli imploded at the end, and remember, Romo somehow won the game 36-31. Then he turned around in early October. Remember the Denver-Dallas game?
Yep.
Was that not the most entertaining game of the year in the NFL you can make a case for? 51-48, thanks to a late Tony Romo interception. Then I go through the Green Bay, the collapse to Matt Flynn at home when they needed it so badly. I'm enthralled, man. I'm on the edge of my seat. And then the Washington game at Washington, they had to win it, and Romo pulled it out. But he's hurt after the game. It's almost like Jerry scripted it like it's wrestling. You know, like seriously, like I think I'm going to have Tony win this game, but he's going to wind up with a bad back that needs surgery, and he's going to miss the last regular season game. And what happens? Kyle Orton takes you right to the edge of the cliff at the end of the game, and he throws an interception, and they're out of the playoffs. It is theater. Of the absurd, maybe, but theater nonetheless. It is the best theater in pro football because it's 8-8, because you never know. They might win, they might blow it. Romo is the most captivating quarterback in pro football, mostly for all the wrong reasons, because we know he's talented, but we know he's got the haywire gene. We know he's going to come apart right on schedule. You cannot trust Tony Romo. It's a beautiful product. Jerry finally admitted it. I've got the best show on television.
Great characters.
So the winning and losing has become completely irrelevant because, as Jerry always says, what's his favorite term? We are still relevant. Not winning and losing, relevant. We are box office. We don't care about the box score. Who cares?
So what was the question?
Does Jerry Jones have a point? Was the question.
He does.
I guess there's no debate.
Do you ever miss a Cowboy game?
Oh, I've missed a game or two.
You haven't missed a game or two. You can't wait to watch the Cowboys.
You know what? Because, I wait for the accidents. You see what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Every game isn't the accident. You see what I'm saying? You got to remember something. Just for the record, the Cowboys have missed the playoffs the last 4 years. 5 of the last 6 years. They have not won. They've got one playoff victory since 1990.
Okay.
I mean, it's just...
Okay, so how do you explain they're the best TV draw in pro football?
Because they did a magnificent job of marketing their product and their brand long before Jerry arrived. And Jerry piggybacked off of that while, we were still getting over the Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, Danny White, Tony Dorsett era and all of that other stuff. And you get Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, and you put yourself in a position to win Super Bowl championships.
They did win 3 out of 4.
You won 3 out of 4, and your last being 1995. So you lived off the mystique and aura of the Dallas Cowboys, and it is what it is. I don't know why it went off. I got it on silent. I don't understand why I did that. I apologize. But what I'm saying to you is that you basically lived off of the mystique established by Tex Schramm and Tom Landry and those boys. So you got there, you won 3 Super Bowl rings. You maintained the level of relevancy. And then after that, you fell off the map, but the star on the helmets, the cheerleaders, the billion dollar playpen played a role into that. I mean, that stadium is immaculate. All of this stuff.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
Did the Boston Celtics not have a great tradition? It's maybe not Cowboy-esque, but it's a great NBA tradition, right?
Yes. Yep.
They have fallen completely off the map this year. Do I watch Celtic games?
Nope.
I used to watch them religiously. I never missed a Celtic game back 3, 4, 5 years ago. Do I watch them at all? No. Okay?
But that's
it's the same thing.
But Skip, it's the combination of 82 games and knowing that you're going to stink for the most part because you're rebuilding. That's entirely different than an NFL game with 16 games in the season, Skip, with the NFL being the event-driven product.
Hey, but at some point, you would look at this team 8-8, 8-8, and you just say, I'm done. I'm out. And I'm not done, and I'm not out. I'm watching every game.
Oh, let me tell you
You can't tell me this piece of mediocrity and say, why are you still watching?
But look at the storylines. I mean, you can't beat them. I mean, Jerry Jones makes sure to make himself a story. Then you got Tony Romo, who's an accident waiting to happen, and you have players. I mean, like you said, they don't just lose. They take you to
the very end.
They are the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest teasers on the planet Earth. They sit there, they'll put forth what seems to be a star-studded roster. They sit there in the glitz and the glare, all the pomp and circumstance, right up until the moment that the product has to show up and produce, and they can't do it. So they do a magnificent job in that regard, but that's pretty much it. I mean, they are what they are. We get it.
We're having our own side conversation here. Welcome back to the desk. I'm excited. We don't get many female guests, but when we do, we bring the best. Laila Ali is here, ladies and gentlemen. And from my understanding, you're just doing our show today, which is an honor.
Yes.
Okay.
We're very happy to be here.
Okay, God, we're so happy.
And we're happy to have you.
All right, well, let's just get right to it, shall we, Mr. Bayless? I don't know why everyone's laughing. It's just a lot of smiles, very giddy.
All about having a good time.
We're having a good time. So listen, obviously, many consider your father the greatest of all time. There's no question about that.
Well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Thank you.
There could be some. There could be some, but they're ridiculous. But let's talk about the state of boxing right now. Is there anyone out there that compares to your father?
Oh my God. When I think of my father, I think of so much more than boxing, but I think just in the ring, no, not even just in the ring. I mean, my father brought so much charisma to the sport, you know, aside from his talent and his skills and, you know, just what he brought to the heavyweight division alone. I mean, when you look at heavyweights now, there's no one close to Muhammad Ali. And even the guys who are technically great, I don't put them on the level of my father.
You know, I often wonder, as you see guys, the Floyd Mayweather Juniors of the world and others, and you see the way they are, how they conduct themselves in terms of trying to market themselves in the sport of boxing. It seems to be successful. Do you believe in any way that, number one, that they emulate your father? And if not, do you think they really try to do that? That your father was sort of the the motivational person behind the kind of behavior that you see some of these guys doing in boxing?
I think that, you know, my father, the success that he had promoting himself, I mean, it would be crazy not to look at that, you know, as a blueprint and say, you know, he was on to something here and try to do it. I mean, nobody can do it quite like he did. You know, I run into people now all the time. They're just like, oh, they're from other countries. We used to wake up at 3 in the morning and watch your father. So people who are big here and, you know, people respect them in the ring here, they don't give people the excitement that my father gave people. He's a global icon outside of boxing. So you can try, but, you know, it's not that easy to do. And my father wasn't only great in the ring, people loved who he was as a person. So it was like full circle. So it's one thing just to run your mouth and try to promote a fight. But what my father did, you know, for the world, you know, not just boxing, was just on a whole nother level.
Could you just briefly put back into perspective what your father did have to go to become that global icon? And I'm talking about the early days for our younger viewers who might not really have a feel for this. To go from Cassius Clay to changing to Muhammad Ali, to survive being a conscientious objector, saying, no, I have no beef with those Viet Cong. I'm not going to go fight for this country. And all that he went through, could you just put it in some perspective?
I can. You know, there's so much that I could say. because there's so much history there, and like you said, people don't know the history. Why is he loved so much? It goes way far beyond the ring. And I think that the main thing that people love about my father is the fact that he's his own man. He stood up for what he believed in. He didn't have a posse around him. You know, he wasn't worried about people taking his titles, his money. You know, he wasn't in fear of his life. You know, he just wanted to do what was right. And a lot of people didn't love him, you know, or they didn't agree with him. But one thing we all have to do is respect that, you know, because most people aren't going to do it, especially if you have something to take away from them. And, you know, my father, ever since he was young, he said, I'm beautiful, I'm the greatest, and, you know, you may not know it now, but I'm going to show you. And he backed it up. And, you know, we can call ourselves the best or the greatest, but the whole world calls my father the greatest. You know, and like you said, it's because of everything that he went through and stood up for what he believed in and how much got taken away from him, and then he still came back and fought for the people, loves people, and he's been super consistent with that. Even now, you know, he said when he first started boxing that boxing was just the platform, you know, winning the titles and having the gold watches or the Rolls Royces is just going to get people to listen to you, because unfortunately that's what people, money and power is everything to people. And then he was going to be able to spread his message, and that's what he's done, and he's still doing his humanitarian work now through the Ali Center and just going out in public, even with his sickness and his disease, you know, where a lot of people feel bad for him, but he doesn't. You know,
how is his health now?
He's good. I mean, he has Parkinson's disease, and it's progressive, and, you know, it's hard for people to watch because we remember him talking and moving and doing all the things he wanted to do, but it just reminds you that, you know, God is in charge, you know, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, nothing else matters but what you have inside, you know, in your spirit, and he still has that spirit there.
What does your father think about the state of boxing today?
I don't know. You know, I can't really answer that question because I haven't had that conversation with him. But knowing my father, you know, I don't think that he'd be too impressed.
Because I'm wondering, the game itself, I mean, even back in the day, you know, when you hear so many stories being told or what have you, even back then, promoters had some influence, but it seems like never as much as they do today. I mean, back in the day, whether it was Ali against Foreman, Frazier, Ken Norton, Mike, I mean, the list goes on and on. You ultimately had to get into the ring and fight. Whereas today, you don't necessarily have to do that, and the promoters are in the way more than ever before. I'm wondering if that's something that he's ever talked about at all at any time.
No, I've never talked to him about that. And like you said, you know, back in the day, the best fought the best, and multiple times if they had to. And it wasn't, of course you want the money, but you want the bragging rights, and you just want to show. That's what a real fighter, you know, what it comes down to is like, you're going to get in there and you're going to be challenged. Because, I mean, I had that problem in my career, as you know. We've talked about over and over again that, you know, I love to fight. I was good at what I did. A lot of the girls in my weight class just weren't anywhere near as talented as I was. So I would have to get in the ring and fight girls that I knew weren't going to be challenged. And then there were certain girls I wanted to fight. They wouldn't get into the ring with me, but they're going around saying I won't fight them. But I'm like my father in the sense that, you know, knock me out, and I'm going to say, you're the woman, can I have a rematch? That's it. I'm not going to run from you because, I mean, what's that going to do? I want to be able to go home and sleep at night. You know, to be able to call yourself the best, you have to beat the best. So,
well, speaking of that, and this kind of leads us to a debate we often have on this show. I want to get your take on Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. Was one scared of the other?
I don't think so.
Look at that. Look that way when you say that. Look that way when you say that.
I don't think so. Keep going. I'm coming from a fighter's perspective. Okay. Knowing, you know, I don't know both of them well, but I know both of them. They both have talent. They both brought, you know, what they had to the ring. And it's just that sometimes there's so much going on in the background, you know, with the promoters and the money and all this. Like Mayweather is so talented that, you know, a lot of people would look at Manny and say, oh, he has the power to beat Mayweather, but Mayweather knows how to get around certain things just with his skills, you know, and I just don't see him being afraid of Pacquiao, and vice versa. So, you know, it's still annoying because, you know, these guys let their egos get to their head, and, you know, 30 million or 40 million doesn't matter.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, just get in the ring and let's make it happen. So it really comes down to what type of man you are, you know, and I think that it does at some point have something to do with the fighters and the decisions that they're making, but not necessarily being afraid. So I don't think it's fear.
You don't feel that Mayweather was more afraid of Pacquiao? You don't think, okay. So
I just don't.
That's been his stance the entire time.
He's so disrespectful.
I've seen him. I've seen all of you.
Explain yourself.
Go ahead, explain.
The thing I despise about today's boxing is that I did have the privilege of covering a number of your father's fights, They were heavyweight fights, as you well know. It was all about the heavyweight division, and it was a parade of stars. Obviously, every time your father fought through his prime, it was against somebody who was really credible, somebody who posed a real threat to him. That has dried up. Is there much left in the heavyweight division that you're really interested in?
No.
Because we're talking about Pacquiao and Mayweather. These are the little guys now. These are little, right?
But you also got to remember when you got Vitaly or or Vladimir Klitschko, and they outweigh their opposition by 50 pounds, that will help you lose interest too.
Okay, but here's the problem. For some reason, we could go deep into why this is. The kids of the last couple of generations said, "No, I'm not going to box." Maybe they looked at your father and they said, "Ooh, maybe that's what happened to him." And they said, "I think I'll play I'd rather play football or basketball or baseball, whatever else they chose." And all of a sudden, it put Floyd in a more and more commanding position where when he fights now, he can just sort of name his figure off one fight. He could be set for life on any given night.
He makes a minimum of $40 million.
It's just staggering. Think about that. $40 million bucks?
Yeah.
Okay? So to me, he looked at Manny Pacquiao, and I'm going back 5 years now, when Pacquiao was Pacquiao. And I think we're going to do this topic here in a second, but he's had a big spiritual conversion, and he became a politician. He's in a second term now in political office. So back in the day, when he was a zealot in boxing, when he was a terror, I think Floyd looked at him as, wow, he's as quick as I am, and he punches much stronger than I do. Floyd's just not a puncher. You admit that. He's not a knockout artist. He's a defensive fighter who has great skills. I've never doubted the great skills.
I think Manny has proven that he can be had, though. You know, I mean, he did.
Okay, but I just said 5 years ago, when Manny was at his peak, when it was time for them to fight, Floyd is saying, no, why would I subject myself? Why would I risk
I want to
that?
hear from her.
Well, at the end of the day, everyone can have their opinion, you know, so, and that's fine. You know, that's fine for you to feel that way as far as I'm concerned, because nobody really knows except those two men.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I feel like part of the reason that, you know, Pacquiao did get knocked out, and that does have an effect on you in the wars and things like that. So no, that might not have happened to him when they were talking about fighting each other. But, you know, you never know what would have happened if him and Floyd would have fought. You know, Floyd isn't a knockout artist, you know. He gets people with his speed, you know, and just being slick, and you don't see punches coming. But, you know, everybody, it doesn't matter. The point is to win the fight. And, you know, we all have different routes of getting there.
At the end of the day.
So just because Pacquiao punches harder than Floyd, I wouldn't take anything away from him.
Nobody
punches. If you can't land that shot, it doesn't matter. And if you can't land it, if somebody moves just a little bit and you land it, but you don't land as hard, you know, it's gonna make a difference.
Hands can't hit what your eyes can't see.
Oh, okay. Just a reminder.
I could say that for Floyd versus Pacquiao.
Okay, so he brought up Pacquiao and Bradley. They're having a rematch, obviously. You know, he lost to Bradley. And so actually Joel Diaz, which is Bradley's trainer, essentially said, he had this quote that was pretty interesting, and we can put it up, but he essentially said, I think this is Manny Pacquiao's last fight. He's trained people towards the end of their career, and he could tell that this is basically the end of his career. He has too much wear and tear on his body, and he has too much compassion for his opponents. So your thought on this, is this Pacquiao's last fight? Is that the end of his career?
Who would know? I mean, you know, people always have speculation, you know. That's something that Pacquiao might not even know right now. You know, you do have to take it fight by fight, and that happens to all fighters when they get to a certain age. They've had some wars, they've been knocked out. People start, you know, talking about whether or not it's going to be their last fight or whether it needs to be, but that's really up to him. What I would be doing as the fighter and the trainer is focusing on that he's going to be in the ring, and obviously I didn't actually see that fight, but I know that, you know, it was a controversial decision, so, you know, he must have been doing something. He's about to get back in there again, so you know you better get past this fight and then worry about that later.
Let me ask you this, because see, I never saw you lose, Laila. I mean, you are accustomed to winning, but Manny Pacquiao, he didn't get look.
Boy.
It wasn't really a technical. I mean, this boy was put to sleep. You understand? I'm talking about snoring type of. That's how gone he was.
He was up in 5 seconds.
Whatever.
5 seconds. He was walking around and then he played chess.
All I'm saying to you is this: Bernard Hopkins and others have been on the record saying, how you go down, when you go down like that, it's so devastating that it might take you 10 fights to recover from that, because it's such a devastating way to go out. It wasn't like a technical knockout where you got up, you were a little wobbly, you lost your senses for a few seconds. You was asleep. You know, your family was at ringside crying. I mean, the promoter had to hold them back.
And it does something to your head.
That's right.
I mean, literally. I mean, you're getting hit in the head. So sometimes people are never the same after that. I'm not talking about just the emotional side of it. You know, especially when you're used to being a winner.
Yes.
You know, and I've seen people just never come back. I mean, look what happened with George Foreman when my dad beat him.
That's right.
Because everyone around him was like, you're so big, you're so bad. And then the way he went down, you know, it was very embarrassing the way he got beat.
Yeah, it wasn't one blow that did it. It was to his psyche.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was just wrecked. He lost all his confidence.
Exactly.
He did bounce back much.
And then he came back a much nicer guy.
Right, he did.
You know, went away for some
Changed him
years, and he's a
completely.
whole different person. You know, and I've seen that happen. You know, I'm never going to compare myself to these people, but I've seen it even happen with some of the girls that I fought. You know, because I was the pretty girl, I was just Muhammad Ali's daughter. She can't punch, she can't nothing. They listen to all that hype, and they get in there and get whooped. And they have to deal with me and me being in their face and saying what I'm saying to them, and then they can't do anything about it, and then they have to go back and regroup and figure life out. You know, so like I said, be what it may.
All right. Who's the best fighter in the world right now? Say it.
Uh-oh.
Who's the best fighter in the world, Laila Ali?
I would have to say Floyd.
That's all I want.
Wait, is he still fighting?
He is still fighting. Yes.
Oh, I thought he
wanted to make
retired
sure.
a
In
long
the world
time
right
ago.
now today.
I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Yes.
Just wanted to
Ladies
make
and
sure.
gentlemen, Laila Ali, she's going to take a break off, and then you'll be back a little later on in the show. It's a pleasure.
What makes the Indy 500 the greatest spectacle in racing?
We are green. Everyone in the grandstands are on their feet. Now the winner of the Indianapolis 500, my friend.
The Indianapolis 500, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on ABC.
He's here, ladies and gentlemen. Marlon Wayans. Last time we saw him was Super Bowl. You got a new movie out, Haunted House 2.
Yes, it comes out April 18th.
April 18th, but you're hanging out with us in the meantime.
Last time I saw this guy face to face like this, he sprinkled water on me and said, "Get the haterade out just a
Yes.
That's what he said. Cuz you be having some hate sometimes. First of all, I just want to say I'm sitting in the same seat that Laila was sitting.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
She walked by
sitting
me,
over there.
and all I kept saying was, sound effects came out my mouth. I wasn't trying to. Ow! Gee! Oh, beautiful. Oh, it hurt. Oh, beautiful. I wish I was a pink dress. Ow! Beautiful. I wonder if, because I used to go, she's beautiful. I wonder if, like in perfect world, like, what if me and her, what if we, wound up together? I'd be like, she would be punking me.
Yeah, she beat you up.
When I seen her beat girls up in the ring.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
And she just pop. I was like, oh, what
and
she
talk,
do that?
and talk
Did
to
she
them
do
while
that
she
to
was
the
doing
husband?
it. Curtis is a big
You do the dishes. Pop. No, but she's great, and I heard what she was saying about Ali being that worldwide champion. He did fight everybody, and Floyd is nice. There's no doubt about it. But I think him and Manny Pacquiao that needs to happen.
It does need to happen. They're both getting on my nerves with it. I will admit that.
Did Manny Pacquiao wake up yet?
You know what? we heard he did. And then he fought Brandon Rios, who was too small. Bradley is foul.
The problem is you're afraid of what Pacquiao would do.
Please.
You are afraid. You're more afraid than Floyd is.
Floyd will pick him apart. Look, I like Manny. Nice guy. Floyd would pick him apart and eat him for breakfast.
Manny's well rested right now. That was a knockout, boy.
No, wait a second.
He hit him, and people in Philippines felt that. They like, he just was. The casket guy came out was like, let me measure him for his casket.
That's right.
I think he's dead. He was bad.
Wait, was Brandon Rios dead when he fought him?
No, but Brandon Rios was so slow, he might as well have been.
So that was it.
He's tough, he can fight, but he's slow.
Too
slow for Pacquiao.
Wait a second.
Let's break this down.
Has Timothy Bradley lost a fight? I think he's 31-0. And what happened the last time that he fought Pacquiao? Pacquiao punished him, and it was the biggest robbery I have ever witnessed.
I agree with you, but Pacquiao might lose this time.
No. No.
Timothy Bradley is no joke, y'all. Y'all can sleep on Timothy Bradley if you want to. I'm telling you right now.
Timothy Bradley got some skills. He ain't got the feet of Floyd. He's too hittable.
Right.
It's too easy.
No, I ain't saying beat Floyd. I'm talking about beat Pacquiao.
I'm saying he don't have the feet that Floyd got. Okay, he's too.
Neither did Marquez.
Pacquiao proved I can hit you, Bradley. He hit him. He beat him clearly. Bradley did not win one round.
I agree with that.
I threw up the pizza I had and my buffalo wings.
Time out. I totally agree with you. Totally. But it was after that fight that Manny wasn't okay.
Yeah, but the other guy
went to sleep, and now he's a different Pacquiao.
But let's think about it. Marquez put him to sleep after he studied him for 3 fights, okay? He lost. He said, and he studied this. And he was a little too yoked for me. I'm not saying, but he got a little too yoked for me.
I agree with that.
And he had the steroids trainer. I'm just saying.
I agree with that.
And then he just practiced that overhand right over and over
That doesn't
again.
negate the fact that you got caught and it changed your life forever.
It did. He knocked him out. He knocked him out so hard. Manny's hair got nappy. I never seen nothing like it. He was gone. I was like, oh, he ain't waking up. But Floyd and Pacquiao would be an amazing fight, and the reason why I say, like, they need to fight. Boxing needs this fight. For those two guys, who I respect them both. I'm going to use one of your words. Tremendously. I respect them tremendously. The sport of boxing needs that fight to happen here and worldwide for the sport of boxing, because UFC is right now is doing their thing.
Yeah, they are.
Boxing needs it, and I honestly don't know who would win that fight. I think Floyd,
I do.
Floyd's a master at picking you off, but Manny throws so many punches from so many different angles that would be to me the greatest war they ever. Floyd would probably, I don't know. I can't call it.
I don't
Floyd
even know.
Floyd will come out on top.
I don't even know if Pacquiao would touch him. I don't even know if Pacquiao would touch him.
You can't beat what you can't hit. Floyd, you can't hit him at all. He's like a little fly. Just zoom, zoom, zoom. You throw a punch here, Floyd over there already. That boy is quick, and he's smart.
Yeah, now that fly's about, what is he, 39 years old now?
37.
Okay. I think he's 39.
He's a gnat now.
It's been so long since he fought, yeah?
Yeah, but listen, Floyd is smart. Yeah. If you watch Floyd, that fight with Shane Mosley, he got stunned. He got stunned
in the second round.
What was that, like 8 years ago? He also got stunned with Zab Judah. But Floyd is smart. In that ring, he goes, all right, now I tasted what you got. Now I'm going to spread my feet. I'm jabbing you. I'm going to watch you when you come in with that sneaky right hand that you was throwing, Zab. I'm going to catch you with the uppercut because your head is down.
Yeah. Before we move beyond the sport of boxing, let me just say this last statement. The worst thing that happened to boxers out there, any prospective Floyd Mayweather Jr. opponents, is that he got his father in his corner. Roger Mayweather's did a fabulous job, but he's got some health issues. You got the father now that was more defensive minded. He said, I don't want to see you getting hit like that anymore, like you did against Sugar Shane. You taking too many blows. No more of this. We're going to get back to what you do best, which is defense. And now you can. I mean, I don't even know if Floyd got hit in the face the last fight. I'm trying to remember. I don't know.
Floyd, it's like fighting a ghost out there. You can't fight. You can't hit that man.
That's what you need to recognize.
I would like to see that fight, though. I think that would be a great fight, and I would be
sprinkle some water on you.
Why? No. Listen, here's the thing. Floyd is he's a great fighter, and he's smart. He's been training since he was this big. And I've sat there. The thing with Floyd is he's the villain. When he does his promotion, he's the villain. It's like rooting for Lex Luthor. But it's the way he promotes himself that makes him look like a bad guy. But I know people that know Floyd, and they got nothing but the greatest things to say about him. They say he's generous, he's kind, he's sweet. And this is from people that I know that know him. And so, he just promotes himself as Lex Luthor. But really,
Let's get.
Okay, you've talked all this trash, and I'm going to say something nice back to you. Before we get back to sports, it takes a lot to make me laugh at a commercial for a movie on television, and I have laughed about 5 times at the commercial for your new movie.
Oh, thank you, man.
Seriously.
It ain't a hater.
It is.
I'm not a hater either. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Stop it.
I think this kid's going to be real cool. I may start texting.
Go over to the dark side. Go over to the dark side. Get it out the system. Get it out the system.
The guy on the computer, going back and forth with the guy on the computer. So it's like,
thank you, man. Thank you.
He said go to the dark side.
Thank you.
Go to the dark side.
It's a fun movie. It's silly. It's crazy. It's what we do, what I do, and you know, it's a lot of fun. I've screened it in like 17 different cities, and everybody, and I asked the people, I say, tweet me at Marlon Wayans after you finish watching it. I want you to tweet me, and I'm going to retweet your review of the movie. I've gotten, you know, this is social media. They will hate in a second.
Sure.
I've got nothing but love on this
Really?
movie from everybody, black, white,
Great.
old, young. It's just an enjoyable movie.
And it's in theaters April 18th, you
April
say?
18th,
All right,
yes.
you want to talk about your Knicks before we get you out of here?
They're having troubles.
Okay.
Here's the thing, but
Do they get the last playoff spot?
Just say no.
What's the-
Just say no.
no,
He wants to schedule.
You gotta believe.
No, you don't. It's over.
You gotta believe.
It's over.
Here's why. I think Melo is coming into his own. When he's dropped that 61, 62 this
Yes.
I saw something in
Against
him.
Charlotte.
I seen against Charlotte. Oh, but Charlotte's a playoff team.
They are a playoff team. They're better than the Knicks.
It's
Michael
playoff
Jordan and
team.
those boys done a good job with
But
them.
Phil Jackson is going to know what to do with those chess
Oh,
pieces.
Lord, here we go.
You know, listen, it's the same way Pat Riley helped, what's his name?
Dwayne Wade?
Eric Spoelstra?
Spoelstra. He helped him out. It took him to lay out this is what you do with this team. This is how you lose LeBron as a triple threat. This is how you use Dwayne Wade. I'm confident that Phil Jackson's tutelage will help. At some point, he may need to step in and coach.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That would be beautiful. But the reality is, the coach of the Knicks, he ain't a bad coach.
No, he isn't.
It's just he needs.
He was sabotaged this year.
You need the respect. Like Phil Jackson got that guru respect. You know, he's Phil Jackson. He talk, you listen. He talked some crazy voodoo language.
Who's winning the title this year?
Oh, Heat.
No doubt. Even
I don't
with
doubt
from
my mind.
Oklahoma City?
Let me tell you something. I don't bet against the greats. I've learned that. And you know what's the hard lesson for me? Kobe Bryant. I bet against the great. For five rings, I was on the wrong side. I was on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
For 5 rings, because I'm a Jordan fan. So nobody was coming up behind Jordan. And
You're
Kobe,
not telling the truth.
No.
Let me tell you why.
Wait.
Their first ring was against Indiana.
You gonna tell me
Second was against the Nets. You said 5. You bet against the 5 times. I'm giving you the 5 teams he beat.
Okay, go.
Indiana. You picked the Indiana over the Lakers?
Yes.
You picked the Nets over the Lakers?
Yes.
You picked the Philadelphia 76ers over and Iverson over the Lakers?
Oh, you listen to me. Listen to me. Look at my mouth.
I'm looking at you.
I am a Laker hater. I am a Laker. You bought it out of me.
You should not be at this desk.
I don't like the purple in your tie.
Uh-oh.
You understand?
Okay, get out. The
Here's
show's
why.
over.
No, here's why. I'm a Laker hater. They're a great team. Kobe,
Right.
great.
Right.
The dude, it was hard for me to bet against. I had to, okay, because all my friends was Laker fans, and they all went from being New York Knicks fans to Laker fans. And I was like, you know what? I'm hating.
Okay.
So I was hating more on them than the Lakers.
Logic.
Lakers is a great organization, but LeBron James is in this whole new. He's at a point where he's smart enough to go, you know what, KD, you can have the MVP. You can have the MVP. I don't need that MVP. I got 4 of them. I'm worried about the ring. Rest Dwayne Wade. I'm worried about coming second. I don't need to be first place with Indiana. I don't need that. Why?
Right.
Because I've beaten them before in a 7-game series on the road. This is what I do.
I got it.
All right.
This is what I do.
Marlon Wayans, Haunted House 2 in
Yes.
theaters April 18th.
Yes.
You're also taking over our Instagram account.
Yes, I am. And I also want you guys to check out my digital comedy network,
Okay.
whatthefunny.com. Go check it out right now. It's a free app. It's absolutely funny. Got some great sketches on there. My nephew Damon got a sketch series called Wayne's World. I got the Grimy Halloween on there. It's really funny.
Whatthefunny.com.
Whatthefunny.com.
You guys go check it out. And
Yes.
you're here all day.
I'm here all day. And
All right.
at Marlon Wayans. Tweet me. I'll talk back to you. If you disagree with what I'm saying and Lakers haters, you mad at me. So holla at your boy. Skip, you my man right
All
there.
right. You all remember this. Paulina Gretzky, daughter of hockey great Wayne Gretzky and fiance of PGA Tour pro Dustin Johnson, featured on the cover of Golf Digest in a white bikini top and some matching leggings. Magazine previewed photos of Gretzky on its website, and some LPGA stars have reacted, voicing their frustrations with female golfers not receiving proper respect, as in not being on the cover. We have a female athlete to talk about it right now. Laila Ali, back at the desk. Thank you so much for joining us. So, what's your take on this?
Well, I mean, they want to sell magazines. That's obvious, you know, so that's just the way magazines are sold, putting somebody attractive on the cover. I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but I don't agree with why female athletes feel like that has to take something away from them. You know what I mean? It's like people are going to buy the magazine, they're going to open it, you know, you want to attract more audience to the magazine, and then they're going to maybe read about you in there. You know, so whatever that may be, have they never put a woman on the cover? I don't think that's the case,
that's
right?
the issue.
No, they have.
Yeah, they have, but it's been a while. It's been a while, so that's what they've said.
Right, so maybe they need to put more women on the cover.
Well, do you think that's your take because you're so beautiful, and you probably can get away with that?
That might have something to do with it. I'm not saying I'm beautiful.
But you are.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I happen to look a certain way, and I also box, so there's a reason for me to be on the cover. But I mean, people like looking at pretty things, cars. You know what I'm saying? Women, men. Put attractive men.
Listen,
don't get
listen.
started.
I like to look at nice-looking men.
Exactly.
I love it.
We all do. So I mean, you know what? People need to just relax a little bit. Don't make such a big deal out of everything. Let them, you know, bring a different audience to the magazine that might not have been looking at it before, and look at it that way. Use it in your favor, because you're not going to stop the show just because you get mad. The magazine's going to do what they want to do, who they want to put on the cover.
All right.
Okay, so you understand that some of the LPGA pros were upset with this because they thought more of them should be promoted, even though obviously Golf Digest is not in the business of promoting just women's golf, just golf in general.
Yeah.
So you have some issue with those women. You're saying they don't really get it. They're not seeing the bigger picture of it.
I think that I haven't actually spoken to them personally, but I would say that you have to just use what you got. If they put her on the cover, then you need to flip it and think of it in a positive way. How can this help us? You know, because she's on the cover already. They're going to make their decision. You can get mad. It's not going to change anything. You know, you can stomp your feet all you want to. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that her being on the cover might bring viewers to golf or to open the magazine that never would have purchased it before. You know, I'm not saying that I would have made the decision to put her on the cover. I'm just saying now that it has happened, you know, you have to use that decision in your favor, or at least think of the positive side of it.
Listen, I'm with you. Stephen A.
I had no problem with it whatsoever.
Oh,
didn't bother me. Nothing did bother me. Not at all. And the reason why, first of all, you're talking about Golf Digest. You're talking about, like you told me the other day, Skip, 80% of its subscribers are men.
81.
81%. Newsflash, ladies. Men like to see attractive women. It's just the way that it is, okay? I can't speak to what women like to see, but I imagine that women like to see attractive men. I am a man, and I like to see attractive women. And so to me, I didn't understand the beef at it all. I understand that there are women out there who don't like to be objectified. They have a problem with you flagrantly objectifying women to promote your magazine because they think it's a reflection on them. Those women, I'm not going to poo-poo that. I'm not going to dismiss it and say you're wrong to feel that way. But there's no doubt that you understand that it exists in the world. You have some of those women out there on the LPGA Tour. Guess what, Skip? I'm quite sure that some of them are married. Does your husband look at you and find you unattractive? Chances are they don't. Otherwise, they would not have married you. So obviously, you understand, to the man that you love, to some degree, you are objectified. Ladies, get over it. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. It's just the way it is. Even if it's just to your man, you are beautiful. And that's all I'm trying to say. So why is it a problem? I've never gotten this. When I see women walking out, listen, you know how you are. You live in a makeup room.
Get out of here.
I mean, all you women do it. It's none of this stuff. Okay?
And that's what you appreciate.
Yes.
Listen, I ain't hating. I'm not mad. What I'm saying is you do it for a reason.
Yes,
because when we see you, you want us to see you and go like this. Well, damn. I like what I'm saying.
You like
What's wrong with it?
on women.
What's wrong with it?
Look
There's
good.
nothing wrong. The thing is I'm sure that there are some female golfers that are attractive. They're like, well, I could have been on the cover.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, it's like, you know, why couldn't you use an actual golfer? Why do you have to go get
Oh, no.
I get that.
I don't know if that was what they were feeling. I'm thinking they had a problem with the fact that a woman was there posing the way that she was posing because she was clearly being objectified.
All of that.
Quick point of order here. Did anybody notice what happened just this past Sunday in the Nabisco Dinah Shore?
Nope.
Which is a major on the LPGA Tour. A young lady who just turned 19 years of age named Lexi Thompson, who's now won 4 times on tour, won her first major. She is a nice-looking young lady, and she is maybe tiger-like as she comes up.
Okay.
She belongs on the cover. I told you as a paying subscriber, this is going back last week, I cringed a little bit at Paulina being on the cover, but she does have a connection. Remember, just for the record, she is the daughter of the greatest hockey player who ever played, and she is the fiancée of a young man named Dustin Johnson who has $1 million swing and has often had a 10-cent head. Made a lot of dumb decisions, and a lot of people think, uh-oh, did he make another dumb decision? Because she's been a wild child. She's been the it girl, and she's coming up as trying to be a model, actress, singer, and so it's provocative. So, again, it's going to draw people in to read about Dustin Johnson as well as about... It's just not about...
Totally understand, but we need to just accept the fact. Look, sex sold milk.
Huh?
Sex sold milk. They use stuff like that to sell milk.
We got to switch
Why
out
would they
here.
go for something else?
We promoted people asking questions to you on our Twitter page, and we have a question here. So what's the proudest moment you've had outside of sports?
Outside of sports, having children, raising my children. Oh, yeah. That's something that was really important to me, and that's one of the reasons I retired. I want to start a family, and being a mom is like... most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and those are my babies.
And we all know that you're married.
Yes.
And so most recently, though, you participated in Celebrity Wife Swap?
I did.
Tell us about that.
Explain this.
Celebrity Wife Swap will be airing May 6th on ABC, and I'm super excited about it because it's something I never thought I would do, and it actually was a lot of fun. And I think it'll give people the opportunity to see me in a different light because, you know, you have these ideas about how you think people would be or how they would live or, you know, just their day-to-day life, and I think people will be very surprised about me.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
Can I ask us?
Go ahead. We got to get everybody out of here.
Personal question. Are you a bossy wife?
I am not.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just wondering. I'll just ask a question.
No, I am, you know, I am the manager of the home. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I like things done a certain way when it comes to the kitchen and when it comes to the way the house is ran. I'm a little old-fashioned with that. So, you know, Curtis knows his lane and I know mine. So, you know, things have their place and I'm going to stay on top of that, but I'm not bossy, no.
Okay.
I love this strong black woman.
So.
I'm just not I don't imagine Curtis sitting there going, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Todd McShay released his latest mock draft, and there's a change at the top, as you can see. McShay now has the Texans selecting Jadeveon Clowney with the #1 pick. Blake Bortles is projected to be the first quarterback drafted, going 4th to the Browns, while Todd thinks Johnny Manziel will drop all the way to 8 to the Vikings. Ryan Clark joining us in place of Stephen A. Smith. No need to scream. You can just chill.
Yeah, just keep it down.
Yeah, just
okay,
and we'll be okay.
Yes.
We'll be quiet. This will be the quiet show today.
We'll be the quiet show today. What's your reaction to the latest draft?
Clearly, I'm not a GM.
Okay.
Or a head coach, because to me, none of these quarterbacks are top 10 worthy players.
Really?
That's just how I feel. They're
not
good
even
players.
That Texas A&M quarterback.
Not even that
top 10.
Who I love to watch.
I know you do. The last time you were on the show, you were raving.
Fan. But I'm just saying, as a top 10 goes, these aren't top 10 quarterbacks. But we do know recent history shows that Jake Locker goes early, Christian Ponder goes early. People trade up to get E.J. Manuels.
Yep.
So it's a quarterback-driven league, and teams that are quarterback-thirsty will draft quarterbacks.
Yep.
I don't think Blake Bortles should be the first quarterback taken either. I feel like it should be Johnny Manziel. But I do feel like he is right with saying the Minnesota Vikings are going to draft Johnny Manziel.
Really?
They talk about him too much. Mike Zimmer is always, but he's always speaking about. I think it's a little posturing, a little, hey, we're going to set him up like we really don't like Johnny Manziel that much. And then when we get him in, we'll love on him and tell him it was all our scheme to get you as a part of our team.
They call it smoke screening before the draft.
Smoke screening. Yes. And no players, no quarterback, no other player should go before the top 4. Clowney, Robinson, Mack, Watkins. No matter who's drafting, nobody should go before those guys. So for Blake Bortles to go before them, it confuses me.
Okay.
And at 10, also, Clinton Dix, who's a good player. Plays your position. Plays my position. Yep. Who's a good player. I don't feel like he should be at 10. I feel like you can go with Darqueze Dennard from Michigan State, and that feels a better need in Detroit. Okay. So overall, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, the first guy, Jadeveon Clowney, should be it. But I don't think any of these quarterbacks are good enough to pick in the top 10.
Okay, you know where I stand, and I have not wavered 1 centimeter on this.
And we've never seen this before with you with the quarterback either.
Ever. Well, but they're very different. Very different. Tim Tebow does not belong in the same sentence with Johnny Manziel in ability, in accuracy, in playmaking skill, in quickness, in speed, in it factor. All those things, Tebow never had those things. All I ever said about Tebow was, if you give him a shot in his offense, the spread option, that he can win games at the next level. That's all I ever said. No Pro Bowls, but could win games, right place, right time, and he found the right place at the right time, at least for 1 year. This kid is a star. This is a Pro Bowl player, perennial Pro Bowl. And that is why the Houston Texans will forever regret if they pass, even for Clowney, even Khalil Mack, and name them, they will forever regret it. Now Todd is saying that not only they will pass with the quarterback need, but Jacksonville will pass. They will forever regret if they pass Johnny Football, that the Oakland Raiders and Cleveland and Oakland would pass, needing a quarterback. That's incomprehensible to me. That even Tampa Bay would pass Johnny Football. They need a quarterback. Mike Glennon is not the long-term answer here. And now to your point, the smokescreen question. I know Mike Zimmer a little bit from my days in Dallas when he was the secondary coach. Then he coached under Bill Parcells. He's mostly been, to me, a straight shooter, old school, meat and potatoes football coach that a lot of the players who played for him, starting with Dion, they swear by him. Not at him, but by him. And I don't know that he's capable as a first-year head coach of smoke screening to this degree where you're acting. You know, you've got a whole script laid out where you are going to blast Johnny at every chance you get. You're going to go to his pro day, and you're going to say, this is Hollywood. This is a circus. I don't like this, and a lot of people here are not going to like this. And then to say, after you met with him, I think it was that night, if I remember correctly, I believe Minnesota met with him, then to tell the media the next day, red flags flew. Yeah. This, that, and the other. Right. Red flags. I heard a lot of red flags. Well, would he go to those lengths to bash him? Or would he just tell you the truth? I lean toward truth.
Hey, Skip, you know, little boys beat up on girls they like in school.
Okay.
You know, that's how they tell them they love them.
They do it as adults, too.
Okay, sometimes. Okay, I get that. But still, as many negative things as he could say about Johnny, it would still be beyond comprehension to me that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with quarterback needs would pass on Johnny Football to get him to 8. Yeah. And if he does somehow slip through 7 slots, that guy in Dallas, that owner that we talked about earlier in the show, that guy named Jerry Jones that you happened to run into at a restaurant in Los Angeles during our vacation,
spoke so highly
of Johnny Manziel.
Wanted him.
And now Jerry has publicly admitted he is all about box office. Not about winning and losing. He's about TV ratings. Listen, if he's could Jerry find some way to get up to the 8 slot? Could he find some way to go from 16 to 8 if Johnny starts to fall down the board? I say he could find some. I don't know how. You'd have to trade this draft and next year. I don't know what you have to come up with.
So do you do that with Tony Romo making the type of money that he's going to make?
Then you would obviously have to figure a way to get out from under the money by trading Tony Romo. Right. And I do believe Tony would have high trade value. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, people would.
Okay? And so to me, if you paired up Johnny from Texas football with Jerry from Arkansas Jones, but if you paired them up at Jerry World, would you not have the
it'd be the biggest box office.
Oh, come on.
Crazy.
It'd be beyond Tony Romo.
Crazy.
Okay. Yeah. So to me, that's got potential if he falls that far. But when I look at the big picture, Todd now has the Houston Texans taking Clowney, and again, I can't condemn that. Right. How can you condemn it? Although I would take the quarterback over the pass rusher. That's just me. And yet, Todd now has the Houston Texans with the first pick in the 2nd round, taking Tom Savage out of Pitt. Now, Tom Savage, I barely know. I watched him play against Jameis in the opening. Did you watch that game?
Yes, I was there.
And you went to the game?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because what am I thinking? You were a Steeler at that point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have some feel for Tom Savage. He does have ability. I had never thought about him as the answer for the Houston Texans long term, but he transferred. He was at Rutgers first. I think he went to Arizona, and he wound up at Pitt last year. Do you think
No, I don't really see him. I don't know if he's better than a Zach Mettenberger.
I agree with that.
I don't know
Went
if
to
he's
your
better.
school.
I don't know if he's better than those guys. But I do think with these quarterbacks not being, you're not having the Andrew Luck or even having the RG3 when he came out or the Cam Newton. I think people are saying, you know what? For the gap that there is in between these quarterbacks is so close, we might be able to find our answer in this round, in the second. I mean, this draft in the second round or the third round.
As you know, the Cowboys have not gone to the playoffs in several years. We have not gone. Yet we're the most popular TV show there is on television. We lead all teams in TV ratings. We lead 24 out of the last top 25 shows were NFL games, and any time your Cowboys play, they're up there at the top and leading. Well, now what causes that? What causes that is creating some aura, creating some excitement.
All right. This is our final take, ladies and gentlemen. A revisit, a redo, but with Washington Redskin NFL analyst Ryan Clark. Your take.
I never thought I'd hear that.
I know.
Washington Redskin, Ryan Clark.
So tell us, what do you think about what Jerry had to say?
Jerry said no mas. He said I'm done. He said, you know what? I am tired of trying to win and making people think I'm trying to win. Think about his first press conference. He said it's all about winning. 1989.
Yeah.
We will win. We're going to win. And now all of a sudden he's like, you know what? Oh, win is not really important. People love to watch us, though. Jerry, I mean, he said exactly what you've been saying about him for the last few months.
Except he publicly acknowledged it. He admitted it publicly, and this is great news for Redskins Nation because he's saying, I don't really care if Dallas beats Washington. I just want a wildly entertaining game.
Hey,
so
that's
congratulations,
I
Ryan.
Appreciate it. I'm hoping he could just say he'll forfeit it now. You know what I mean? As long as people watch, no matter what happens, we win the game. I'll take that.
Yeah.
He's
and again, he got one at Washington last year because Tony Romo won the game. It was actually Tony's best game of the year. To me, under big pressure, got to win to stay in the playoff race. And then what happened right on cue? Wait a second. Romo can't play the next week. He's got back surgery. What?
Yes.
Did you script this out like a WWE thing? You know, was this written? Did he script it?
Hey, Jerry is creating the biggest reality show possible.
Without
you thought the show Dallas was good?
Right.
Dallas Cowboys are much better than that.
Did you just come with that
Best show on TV?
Yeah, I just came up with that.
Very clever. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can catch First Take Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN2.
What makes the Indy 500 the greatest spectacle in racing?
We are green. Everyone in the grandstands are on their feet. You're now a winner of the Indianapolis 500, my friend.
The Indianapolis 500, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on ABC.